The massive silver ship hung in space like a gleaming needle against the black fabric of the void. Inside, Captain Emma Stone tried to hide her nervousness as she prepared for humanity's first official meeting with the Galactic Council. The transport ship that had brought her from Earth had just finished docking procedures, and she found herself absently stroking the carrier beside her. A soft meow came from inside, and Emma smiled. She hadn't planned to bring Boots, her black and white cat, but the Council had specifically requested examples of Earth's companion animals. They wanted to understand human culture better, and what better way than to show them humanity's oldest animal friends. The docking bay doors opened with a gentle hiss. Emma straightened her uniform and picked up the carrier. A group of aliens waited for her, some tall, some short, some with multiple limbs, and others floating in containment suits. Their leader, a tall being with silvery skin who had introduced himself as Admiral Reed, stepped forward. "Welcome aboard the Harmony of Stars, Captain Stone," Reed said through the translator pinned to his chest. His large purple eyes blinked slowly as he noticed the carrier. "Is this the companion creature you mentioned?" Emma nodded and set down the carrier. "Yes, Admiral. This is Boots, my cat. She's very well behaved and has traveled in space before." She opened the carrier door, and Boots walked out with typical feline grace, her tail held high. The reaction was immediate. Several of the smaller aliens backed away, while others leaned in with obvious curiosity. Boots, completely unfazed by the attention, sat down and began grooming her paw. "Fascinating," said one of the aliens who wore the markings of a xenobiologist. "It appears to be cleaning itself. Is this a common behavior?" The alien, who introduced himself as Dr. Gray, pulled out a scanning device. "Oh yes," Emma replied, watching as Boots finished her grooming and stood up to explore. The cat walked with deliberate steps, investigating her new surroundings while keeping a safe distance from the aliens. Cats are very clean animals. They spend a lot of time grooming. The council members followed Boots's movements with intense interest. The cat's graceful steps and careful observation of her environment seemed to impress them. Even Admiral Reed couldn't hide his curiosity. "You say these creatures live in your homes?" Reed asked, watching as Boots found a sunny spot near a viewport and settled down. "They are not confined." Emma laughed softly. "No, they're free to move around. Cats have lived with humans for thousands of years. They chose to live with us. Actually, we found each other mutually beneficial." Dr. Gray's scanning device beeped. "Captain Stone, these readings, they suggest your cat has highly developed muscle structures, razor-sharp retractable claws, and excellent night vision. Are these common traits?" "Yes, all cats have those features," Emma explained. "They're natural hunters. Even though Boots is a house cat, she still has all the abilities of her wild ancestors." The aliens exchanged glances that Emma couldn't quite interpret. Admiral Reed's color shifted slightly, a sign she would later learn indicated surprise. "Natural hunters," Reed repeated, "yet you keep them in your homes, near your young." "Of course," Emma said, not understanding their concern. "Cats are wonderful companions. They help keep our homes free of pests, and they're very affectionate when they want to be. Boots, come here, girl." To the alien's apparent amazement, Boots immediately stood and trotted over to Emma, rubbing against her legs and purring loudly. The sound made several of the aliens step back. "That vibration," Dr. Gray said, adjusting his scanner. "Is it some form of warning?" Emma smiled and picked up Boots, who settled contentedly in her arms. "No, that's purring. It means she's happy. Would anyone like to pet her?" The aliens looked at each other uncertainly. Finally, Dr. Gray stepped forward, extending one of his forehands cautiously. Boots sniffed his hand, then allowed him to gently touch her head. The xenobiologist's eyes widened. "The fur is so soft," he said, sounding surprised. "Yet I can sense the powerful muscles underneath. Remarkable creature." As the meeting continued, and they made their way to the conference room. Emma noticed the aliens keeping a careful eye on Boots. She didn't understand their cautious reaction. After all, Boots was just a normal house cat. It would be several days before she realized that to the galactic community, there was nothing just or normal about Earth's beloved murder Mittens. 3 days into the diplomatic mission, life aboard the Harmony of Stars had fallen into a comfortable routine. Emma was pleasantly surprised by how quickly Boots had adapted to space life. The cat spent most of her time either sleeping in the artificial sunlight near the ship's viewports or watching the aliens with half-closed eyes from her perch on various platforms around the ship. The aliens had slowly grown used to Boots's presence, though they still gave her a wide berth when passing by. What they didn't understand was that this calm was merely the surface of a cat's true nature. They were about to learn. The diplomatic meeting that day focused on trade agreements. Emma sat at the large round table with representatives from 12 different alien species. Boots dozed on a cushioned platform nearby, installed specifically for her after she had claimed Admiral Reed's chair on the first day. Dr. Gray's small research animal, something like a floating hamster with 6 legs, floated in its containment bubble on the other side of the room. The first sign of trouble came when the lights flickered. Emma felt a slight tremor through the floor, but years of space travel had taught her not to panic at small disturbances. Then the artificial gravity stuttered. For a moment, everything in the room began to float. The aliens scrambled to grab onto their seats, papers and tablets drifted upward, and several of the delegates let out sounds of distress in their native languages. The containment bubble holding Dr. Gray's research animal cracked. What happened next would be talked about in galactic diplomatic circles for years to come. While the aliens flailed in the zero gravity, Boots's eyes snapped open. In the confusion, Dr. Gray's 6-legged pet had escaped its damaged bubble and was now floating freely, its tiny limbs paddling uselessly in the air. The cat's pupils dilated, her entire body tensing like a coiled spring. With one perfectly calculated push, Boots launched herself from her platform. She moved through the zero-gravity environment as if she had trained for it all her life, using the smallest surfaces, a floating tablet, a chair back, even an alien ceremonial headpiece, to change direction. Her movements were precise, elegant, and absolutely terrifying to watch. The floating pet never stood a chance. Boots caught it with a graceful pounce, somehow using the momentum to flip herself around and push off the ceiling. She landed perfectly on the table just as the gravity came back online, holding her prize gently in her mouth. The room fell silent. Emma noticed that several of the alien delegates had changed colors, while others had pulled in their sensory appendages. Admiral Reed's purple eyes were wider than she'd ever seen them. Is this normal behavior? One of the delegates asked, their translator barely catching the shaky words. Before Emma could answer, Boots dropped the unharmed but thoroughly frightened pet on the table and began grooming herself, looking for all the world like nothing unusual had happened. Dr. Gray hurriedly retrieved his pet, which immediately curled into a trembling ball in his hands. Well, Emma said carefully, cats are natural hunters. They're extremely agile and have excellent spatial awareness. Boots probably thought Dr. Gray's pet was in trouble and tried to help. Help. Admiral Reed's voice carried a new note of respect, or perhaps fear. Captain Stone, your cat just demonstrated hunting capabilities that exceed our most advanced military training simulations. In zero gravity. Without any preparation. Emma looked at Boots, who had finished grooming and was now purring contentedly. They do land on their feet, she offered weakly, realizing for the first time how this might look to species that had never encountered cats before. They all can do this? Dr. Gray asked, still cradling his shaken pet. All of Earth's cats. Well, yes, it's just part of being a cat. They're very good at calculating jumps and movements. And they have excellent balance. The meeting room remained quiet as the aliens processed this information. Boots, completely unaware of the diplomatic stir she had caused, jumped down from the table, and walked over to Emma, rubbing against her legs with a friendly murp. That evening, Emma overheard two delegates discussing the incident in the corridor. "And humans keep these creatures in their homes," one said, "sleeping near them." "Perhaps," the other replied. "This explains why no species has ever attempted to invade Earth." The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with nervous energy as Admiral Reed presented his report. The massive circular room, designed to hold representatives from over 200 species, was unusually full. Word had spread about the Earth delegation's companion predator, and no one wanted to miss this session. The Admiral stood at the center platform, his silver skin reflecting the soft blue lights. Behind him, a hologram showed various images of cats, from house cats to lions, tigers to cheetahs. Each image caused a new wave of murmurs through the chamber. "Distinguished members of the council," Reed began, his translator carrying his voice to every corner of the room. "My recent diplomatic mission to meet the humans has revealed something unexpected. While humans themselves are fascinating, it's their chosen companions that demand our immediate attention." The hologram shifted to show Boots during the zero-gravity incident. The cat's perfect movements through space played in slow motion, showing every calculated push, every precise twist of her body. The council members watched in silence. "This is not a trained military animal," Reed continued. "This is what humans call a house cat, a common pet. They keep millions of these creatures in their homes, around their children, in their cities. And this is just one variety." The hologram changed again, showing a compilation of Earth cat videos that the humans had shared. A tiger swimming underwater to catch prey, a cheetah running at full speed, a leopard carrying prey twice its size of a tree, a house cat squeezing through a gap barely wider than its whiskers. "Our analysis shows that these cats possess a combination of hunting abilities that we've never seen in a single species before," Reed explained. "They have night vision 6 times better than our best military equipment. They can rotate their ears independently to track multiple sounds. Their whiskers can detect air movements as subtle as a breathing creature behind a wall." One council member, a floating gas-based being, moved forward. "Surely these are exaggerations. No species could have evolved with all these abilities." Reed shook his head. "Our scientists have confirmed everything. Their claws are retractable biological weapons, sharper than our finest surgical tools. Their muscles allow them to jump 5 times their body length. They can survive falls from incredible heights by rotating in midair to always land on their feet. And perhaps most disturbing," he paused for effect, "they purr while killing." A shocked silence fell over the chamber. The hologram now showed a common house cat playing with a toy, demonstrating the hunting behavior all cats shared. "But how do humans control them?" another council member asked. "They don't," Reed replied. "That's what makes this situation so remarkable. These creatures chose to live with humans. They can leave any time they want. Some humans claim the cats actually domesticated themselves." The chamber erupted in concerned discussions. Reed waited for the noise to settle before continuing. "What's more, humans have been selectively breeding specialized hunting cats for thousands of years. They have cats bred specifically for hunting in water, cats for hunting in deserts, cats for hunting in mountains. They even have cats bred just to be bigger and more powerful than regular cats." The hologram showed a Maine Coon next to a regular house cat for size comparison. Several council members visibly recoiled. "And these humans," a reptilian delegate spoke up, "they just sleep while these predators roam their homes." "Yes," Reed confirmed, "they consider it normal. Many humans report feeling safer with cats in their homes. They say cats guard their territory and protect their human families." A new wave of murmurs swept through the chamber. The idea of sleeping near such efficient predators seemed to disturb many species deeply. In light of these findings, Reed concluded, "I recommend we classify Earth as a Class A predator world, and these cats as Category 1 companion predators. Additionally, I suggest we update our first contact protocols to include warnings about Earth's feline population. As the council members voted unanimously to approve these measures, a small note flashed across Reed's personal screen. It was from Dr. Gray, still stationed near Earth. Update: humans also keep larger versions of cats. They call them big cats. Sending data now. Reed looked at the incoming images of tigers, lions, and panthers and decided that perhaps this information could wait for another day. The council seemed rattled enough by house cats already. Dr. Gray stood behind the safety field, watching the orange tabby cat through multiple sensor arrays. The cat, which the local shelter had named Tom, was currently asleep in a patch of sunlight. Like most cats, he spent nearly 16 hours a day sleeping. But Dr. Gray and his team had learned not to be fooled by this apparent laziness. The research facility, built on the outskirts of a small Earth town called Pine Creek, had been studying cats for 3 months now. What they had discovered was both fascinating and terrifying. Currently, 6 different species of scientists worked in shifts, never taking their eyes off their subjects. "Doctor, you should see this data," called out one of his assistants, a tall blue-skinned researcher named Wave. She manipulated the holographic display, bringing up a complex series of readings. "We've finished mapping their skeletal structure. Look at the spine." The display showed a cat's skeleton, highlighting the spine's incredible flexibility. "They have no collarbone," Wave explained, her translator struggling to keep up with her excitement. "That's why they can fit through any space as wide as their whiskers. And their spine can rotate 180 degrees, letting them always land on their feet." Dr. Gray nodded, making notes. The list of cat abilities had grown impressively long. Their retractable claws stayed sharp because they were sheathed while walking. Their whiskers could detect air movements as slight as a mouse breathing behind a wall. Their eyes reflected light, letting them see in almost complete darkness. Most disturbing was their ability to learn by watching. They had observed cats figuring out how to open doors just by seeing humans do it. A small alarm sounded, drawing everyone's attention to Tom's enclosure. The cat had woken up and was now watching a small robotic toy they used for exercise. The research team gathered around the monitors, recording devices ready. Tom's pupils dilated, his tail twitched, and then he moved. Despite seeing it many times, the scientists still gasped at the display of speed and precision. The cat caught the fast-moving robot in midair, his movements too quick for their standard recording equipment to capture properly. "Play it back at 1/10 speed," Dr. Gray ordered. The slowed footage showed how Tom had calculated the jump perfectly, using his tail for balance and rotating his body in microseconds to make the catch. And he's not even a trained hunter. He's just playing. Wave pulled up another set of data. "We've also discovered something about their purring. It's not just a sound, it's a healing mechanism. The frequency of their purr can actually help repair bones and tissue. They're literally healing themselves while they sleep." Dr. Gray reviewed the growing list of cat abilities. Perfect balance, night vision, ultrasonic hearing, independent ear rotation, retractable weapons, healing sounds, flexible spine, incredible jump strength, silent movement, territorial behavior, pack hunting capabilities in larger species, and what humans called toe beans, specialized padding that let them walk without making a sound. "What about their relationship with humans?" he asked, turning to another researcher who had been studying historical records. The researcher, a crystalline being named Spark, brought up ancient human documents. "It's remarkable. Cats began living with humans thousands of years ago, but they were never truly domesticated like dogs. They chose to stay. Humans gave them warm places to sleep and easy prey in the form of pests, and in return, cats protected human food supplies and eliminated dangerous creatures. And humans just accepted these terms?" Dr. Gray asked, still struggling to understand. "More than that," Spark continued. "They began worshipping cats in some cultures. Even today, Humans share millions of cat images daily on their global communication network. They put cats on their currency, their artwork, their clothing. They build furniture specifically for cats. Some humans base their entire lives around caring for cats. Tom had finished playing with the robot and was now grooming himself, looking completely harmless. Dr. Gray knew better. He had seen footage of feral cat colonies coordinating hunts, house cats taking down creatures 3 times their size, and big cats demonstrating problem-solving skills that rivaled some sentient species. Final observation for today, he recorded in his log. Earth's felines appear to have achieved the perfect evolutionary strategy. They are apex predators that have convinced an advanced species to care for them, feed them, and protect them, all while maintaining their hunting abilities. The most successful invasion in galactic history wasn't an invasion at all. It was a cat walking into a human home and deciding to stay. Captain Razor of the pirate ship Dark Claw thought he had found an easy target. The small Earth colony on Outpost 7 looked defenseless, just a collection of biodomes and farm buildings on the edge of settled space. His crew had disabled the colony's communications and weapons systems with a simple electromagnetic pulse. Now they just had to land and take whatever they wanted. No military presence detected, his scanner operator reported. Just farmers and their animals. Should be easy pickings, Captain. Razor grinned, showing his sharp teeth. Perfect. Humans are supposed to be soft anyway. They let animals do their hunting for them. He had heard stories about Earth's cats, but dismissed them as exaggerations. After all, how dangerous could a pet be? The pirates landed their ship near the largest biodome. It was night on this side of the planet, and the darkness would give them good cover. 20 pirates, armed with stun weapons and capture nets, moved quietly toward the colony's storage buildings. The first sign that something was wrong came when Razor's scanner operator suddenly stopped walking. "Captain," he whispered, "I'm picking up multiple small life forms surrounding us." "There, in the shadows." Razor started to reply, but stopped when he saw dozens of pairs of eyes glowing in the darkness. The colony's barn cats, nearly 30 of them, had been watching the pirates since they landed. Each cat's eyes reflected the starlight, creating an eerie ring of floating lights around the pirate group. "They're just animals," Razor said, trying to sound confident. "Probably scared off." He never finished the sentence. The cats, working with the coordinated precision of a military unit, attacked from all directions at once. They moved like liquid shadows, making no sound except the occasional quiet thump as another pirate hit the ground. The pirates' weapons proved useless. The cats were too fast to target, too small to hit easily, and seemed to know exactly when to dodge. Their claws found weak points in the pirates' armor with surgical precision. They moved in groups of 2 or 3, herding pirates away from each other before striking. "Fall back," Razor screamed, watching as his crew panicked. One pirate ran straight into a support beam while trying to escape 3 cats that seemed to be hurting him deliberately. Another tried to climb a storage tank, only to find 4 cats already waiting at the top. The retreat quickly turned into a rout. Pirates stumbled over each other trying to get back to their ship, while the cats continued their silent, coordinated assault. What terrified Razor most was how the cats seemed to be enjoying themselves. Some would let pirates think they had escaped, only to cut off their path at the last second. By the time the pirates made it back to their ship, half the crew was injured, and all of them were thoroughly demoralized. As they lifted off, Razor saw an old human woman standing outside one of the biodomes, surrounded by several cats. She was setting out bowls of food for them, completely unconcerned by the chaos that had just unfolded. The ship's security cameras had recorded everything. Within days, the footage spread across the galaxy's information networks. The video of small, furry Earth predators systematically taking down a pirate raid became the most watched content in 6 star systems. Back at the colony, Mary Thompson finished feeding her barn cats, pausing to scratch behind the ears of Big Red, the colony's oldest tomcat. The cats had already returned to their usual routines, sleeping in sunbeams, patrolling their territory, and keeping the grain storage free of pests. "Good kitties," she said, watching as they ate their rewards. "Extra treats for everyone tonight." She had seen the whole thing through her window but wasn't surprised. After all, her cats had been keeping the colony safe from pests for years. A few space pirates weren't much different from the rats they usually hunted, just bigger and noisier. The next morning, the colony received an urgent message from the Galactic Council. They were updating their maps to mark all Earth colonies as protected by Class A companion predators. Mary didn't understand the fuss. In her view, every farm needed a few good cats. The fact that they could also repel space pirates was just an added bonus. The newest exhibit at the Galactic Museum of Cultural Exchange was drawing record crowds. Beings from across the galaxy lined up to see the special display titled Earth's Murder Mittens, a history of feline-human relations. Behind the safety fields, two cats named Max and Ruby played with toys, demonstrating their hunting moves to amazed visitors. The museum curator, a tall insectoid named Click, watched with pride as another group entered the exhibit. The cats had become the most popular attraction in the museum's 1,000-year history. Even now, Max was showing off by jumping 3 times his height to catch a floating toy, while Ruby demonstrated her ability to squeeze through a narrow tube that looked far too small for her. "But they're so fluffy," a young alien said, pressing close to the safety field. "How can they be dangerous?" The child's parent, a crystalline being, gently pulled them back. "That's what makes them perfect predators, little one. They look harmless until it's too late." In another part of the galaxy, aboard the diplomatic vessel Peaceseeker, Ambassador Jones was explaining to his alien counterpart why he couldn't attend the afternoon session. "My cat Whiskers is scheduled for her nap then, and I have to be there." The alien diplomat, still new to dealing with humans, looked confused. "Surely your predator companion can sleep without you." "Of course she can," Jones replied, checking his watch. "But she prefers to nap on my lap, and I wouldn't want to disappoint her." The alien made a note to report this strange power dynamic to their superiors. Meanwhile, at the Galactic Trading Hub, a new fashion trend was sweeping through the stations. Inspired by Earth's cats, beings of all species were wearing shirts, pins, and holograms featuring cat ears and whiskers. Some braver souls even tried to imitate the way cats moved, though no one could quite match their grace. The latest hit entertainment stream was a reality show called Life with Murder Mittens, following different human families and their cats. Aliens watched in fascination as cats ruled human homes, demanding food at specific times, claiming the best sleeping spots, and somehow convincing their human servants to clean up after them. In the Galactic Council's military academy, a new training program had been established. Learning from Earth's apex predators was now a required course for all senior officers. The instructor, a veteran who had witnessed the barn cat incident, showed footage of cats hunting, analyzing their tactics and stealth techniques. "Notice how they never waste energy," he explained to his class. "Every movement has a purpose. They can go from completely relaxed to full attack mode in a fraction of a second. And most importantly, they never show their full capabilities unless necessary." At a high-security diplomatic meeting, an alien representative was expressing concern about the human delegation's cat, who was calmly watching the proceedings from a high shelf. "Is it really necessary to have the predator here?" they asked nervously. The human diplomat smiled. "Oh, Tiger isn't interested in the meeting. He just likes that spot because it lets him see everything. It makes him feel comfortable." "That's exactly what worries us," the alien muttered, noting how the cat's eyes tracked every movement in the room. In the bustling spaceport of New Singapore, a gift shop owner was explaining to his alien customer why cat souvenirs were his best-selling items. "Everyone wants something cat-related," he said, showing off his collection of cat-themed items. "Some buy them as good luck charms, others as warnings. The beware of cat signs are especially popular with space traders." The influence of cats had even reached galactic architecture. New buildings and ships were now including what designers called cat paths, high walkways, and observation posts that humans insisted their cats would appreciate. No one wanted to admit they were actually designed to let the cats monitor everything more effectively. Back at the museum, Click was updating the exhibit's information panel. The latest edition read, "Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of Earth's felines is not their physical capabilities, but their strategic brilliance. In less than a year since first contact, they have achieved protected status throughout the galaxy, gained access to the highest levels of diplomatic proceedings, and convinced beings across thousands of worlds to celebrate and accommodate them, all while appearing to do nothing more than sleep in sunbeams and chase toys. Truly, no other species has achieved so much while appearing to do so little." The Galactic Council's main chamber had never been so quiet. Representatives from over 300 species watched as Admiral Reed presented the final classification report for Earth's felines. On a floating platform beside him sat Boots, the cat who had started it all, calmly grooming herself as if this historic moment was just another ordinary day. After 6 months of research, observation, and careful consideration, Reed began, his silver skin gleaming under the chamber lights. "We have concluded that Earth's felines require a completely new classification category. We propose designating them as Class A companion predators, the first such designation in our history." The massive holographic display behind him showed footage from the past 6 months. Cats defending the farm colony, cats in zero gravity, cats solving puzzle boxes faster than some sentient species, cats silently coordinating hunting patterns, and cats somehow convincing beings across the galaxy to serve them. These creatures, Reed continued, combine unprecedented hunting capabilities with an extraordinary ability to form bonds with other species. They are both predator and companion, warrior and comfort giver, protector and protected. They have achieved something no other species has managed. They are feared and loved in equal measure. The display shifted to show different types of cats, from the smallest house cat to the largest tiger. Their range of capabilities is remarkable. They can navigate zero gravity naturally, see in near total darkness, detect movement through solid walls, heal themselves through purring, land safely from extreme heights, fit through spaces seemingly too small for them, and coordinate complex group activities without any apparent communication. A council member raised an appendage. "And the humans? How do they control these creatures?" Emma Stone, now Earth's official feline expert to the council, stepped forward to answer. "We don't control them. We coexist with them. Cats choose to stay with us because we've built a relationship of mutual benefit and respect." As if to demonstrate this point, Boots stood up, stretched, and calmly walked over to Emma, jumping into her arms and starting to purr. The sound echoed through the chamber's perfect acoustics, causing several delegates to shift nervously in their seats. "The classification comes with several provisions," Reed continued. "All human settlements are to be marked as protected by Class A companion predators. Ships carrying cats must display special notifications. And most importantly, all species are advised to treat Earth's felines with appropriate respect." In the back of the chamber, Dr. Gray was completing his final research notes. "Perhaps most remarkable," he wrote, "is how this classification affects humanity's status in the galaxy. Any species that can casually coexist with such efficient predators must be either incredibly brave or slightly insane, perhaps both." The council voted unanimously to approve the classification. As delegates filed out of the chamber, many stopped to look at Boots, who had found a patch of artificial sunlight and was dozing peacefully. Some watched in amazement as Emma casually picked up the cat, who could probably take down any being in the room, and gently placed her in a carrier. Later that evening, in Emma's quarters aboard the station, she sat reading the official classification document while Boots slept on her lap. The cat's purring filled the room as Emma scratched behind her ears. "You know," she said to Boots, "you've completely changed how the galaxy sees Earth. They're calling us The world of murder mittens now. Boots responded by purring louder and kneading Emma's leg with her paws. A message flashed on Emma's screen. Another report from Earth. Apparently, several alien species had started adopting cats, attempting to gain the same protection and companionship humans enjoyed. The cats, true to their nature, were deciding for themselves which aliens were worthy of their presence. Outside Emma's window, the vast expanse of space stretched endlessly. Somewhere out there, cats were sleeping in sunbeams on 100 worlds, patrolling space stations, riding in ships' cockpits, and gradually extending their influence across the galaxy. They had gone from Earth's pets to a galactic power, all while appearing to do nothing more than nap and play with string. Emma looked down at Boots, who opened one eye lazily to look back at her. "I wonder if this was your plan all along," she said softly. Boots just yawned and went back to sleep, keeping her secrets to herself, as cats had done since they first walked into human homes thousands of years ago.